I suggest you study this.
The views and opinions expressed on the Faygoluvers Podcast do not necessarily reflect those of us here at Faygoluvers.net. Some episodes may contain disturbing content. Discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Ridiculousness. Give it up for our guest, DJ Paul. All right, so we featured one of your videos that you shot on this show. Let's take a look at this real quick. It was just like... You shot this? Okay. What was going on? Where was this at exactly?
It was at the gathering of the Juggalos.
The Insane Clown Posse, right?
Yeah, I perform there every year.
Yeah, how many years you been doing? You've been doing that for a long time?
They've been doing it for like 20 years now. I've been doing pretty much all of it.
Faygoluvers. Faygoluvers. Faygoluvers.
What's up, Juggalos, and welcome to the Faygoluvers Podcast. Today is May 7th, 2017. This is episode number 18. I am your homie, Rosco, and I'm going to be your host for this episode of the podcast. We have a fresh episode for you ninjas, as always. On this episode of the podcast, we have our homie, Adlib. Hell yeah, shit is fresh. We go over everything from his new album, Primitive Tomorrow, to preferred smoking methods, Rebel Hippies, his inspirations coming up in the game, all kinds of shit. Definitely stick around for that. Very recently, our homie Chad Carsten of Faygoluvers.net and friend of the Faygoluvers Podcast for sure, he hit me up and he asked me if I could interview Sadistik with him. So we did. We turned it into an exclusive. Shit is dope. Hit up the link in the show notes for that. But for the ninjas that just so happen to be tuning into this episode of the podcast, maybe you have no idea who Sadistik is, stay tuned and have a listen to what this ninja has to say. For anybody who hits up this podcast for the news portion of it, first of all, thank you. Second of all, what the fuck's wrong with you? Hit up Faygoluvers.net. Everything you need to know is on that website. But if you do hit up this podcast for the news portion of it, we will be talking about some controversial shit that's been going down in the underground. This seems to be a recurring theme on the podcast, and I promise you, I'm not doing this every episode on purpose. I talk about the shit people want to hear about. I talk about the most popular shit that gets posted to Faygoluvers, and it just so happens that a lot of it has to do with controversy, especially as of lately. Stick around to see what that is. One final thing I want to bring up before we get into our news segment is that the Billboard numbers have been revealed for the ROC's latest album, Digital Voodoo. Check it out. He got number 9 on the top rap albums, number 16 on the top independent albums, and number 106 on the top 200 albums. Hell yeah. Props to you, ROC. Let's get into the news, ninjas.
So it's T-W-O?
Nah, man.
So it's the number 2 in the word dope.
Not this time, guy.
T-O-D-O-P.
Get that shit right.
T-O-O-D-O-P.
Yep, in a stomping. Walking in my war wild rugs. Representing all the gutter rats, street hard scrubs. No love for the upper crust. Shit don't stink. Fuck. So proud where I come from. That's what's up. Catch me on the freeway exit, spirit chains. Blowing on the hoe, getting brains in the little strains. Ever since a little tug, my nuts would hang. And still remain the same. Free peace blows away. Motherfucking unforgettable. Once I'm in the ear hole, I put that on my top bits down to my bottom hole. Here we go. Mind explode. Straight up saggy overload. It's all shit. None of melt headphones to those. I leave my trademarks cross your bitch ass chin. Before you know it's happening, I sting you again. Abu Dhabi motherfuckers, but the field is here. We'll make it rain on you. Office, warrior, no matter what the matter, any matter, don't matter. Unless we talking bitches, titties bigger or flatter. Who cares? Is that bitch sucking dick? E-P-O-D-O-O. Fuck! Dyslexic!
A couple days ago, we were surprised with a brand new episode of Magic Ninja Entertainment's newest online radio show, or podcast or whatever, the hookup. On the hookup, it was revealed that on the Psychomania tour, the VIPs would be receiving a sampler. On that sampler, you're going to get tracks from Young Wicked, Axe Murder Boys, and Triple Threat. Hell yeah. For you ninjas who don't know who Triple Threat is, it is a group comprised of Twisted and Blaze. The new track is called R.I.P. If you want to download that, the link is in the description of this podcast. Otherwise, check it out. I'm sure by now a lot of you juggalos are already aware of this news, but check it out. The Insane Clown Posse are going to be playing a Carnival of Carnage show coming up on August 26th in Southwest Detroit. Not only that, the Inner City Posse are going to be opening. The Inner City Posse are going to be opening for the Insane Clown Posse, playing the entire Carnival of Carnage album. Holy shit. Tickets for that are available right now. Hit up the link in the show notes for those. They are $250 a piece, and they are very limited quantities. I know I will not be making it to that show, but for you ninjas that can, have a great fucking time. That ninja, Playboy the Beast, has finally dropped his full-length, self-made, self-paid, finally. It has features from ninjas like The Joker, Liquid Assassin, Sleep Lyrical, and a whole lot more. Hit up the link in the show notes if you want to purchase that. Or if you want to download the exclusive track, Money, Sex, Murder, featuring Kamikaze. Or, if you want, you can just hear a sample of that shit right now. Check it out.
Praise with me, every singing everybody on your playlist. Real recognize, will I only recognize brain sick and murder gang, always stay on some gang shit. Money, sex, murder, money, sex, murder. Yeah. Money, sex, murder, money, sex, murder. Yeah. 7 red rum on my side, on my mind, I'ma ride for my niggas till it's done. You can run, but you know you can't hide. I'ma find you motherfuckers when I do it's red rum. Red rum, red money.
So here is some pretty shitty news for everybody. Recently at an ICP Dallas show, a juggalette was struck in the eye socket with a flying full 2-liter of Faygo, which does happen at ICP shows. She immediately began bleeding profusely, causing her to lose her vision for the time being, and suffered some pretty excruciating pain. After a few hospital visits, it was revealed that she had some retinal detachment, which does not sound pretty to me. According to CourthouseNews.com, she has made several demands on the defendants to resolve her claims, but she was met with denial and avoidance, so she is now suing the Insane Clown Posse for negligence and assault. Damn. I really hope this shit gets resolved for you. I guess this juggalette is going by D Darling. She says she's still down with the clown, so props to you for that. Magic Ninja Entertainment has announced the first release in a new series that they're calling MNE's Welcome to the Underground Collection, and that is going to be a Twisted EP entitled Psychomania. Hell yeah, it's going to have 6 tracks, 3 brand new songs, a Twisted-only version of Psychomania, which I think we've already heard the Twisted-only version of Psychomania. I'm not sure if it's that same version or if it's a new version. I guess we're going to find out. An extended version of Psychomania featuring the entire MNE family, and a 17-minute mix from Fritz the Cat called the FTC Krylon Danger Mix. Hell yeah. As of right now, I think the only place that you can get this is on the Psychomania tour, so hit up a show, pick up the shit, pop it in your CD player, listen to it, love it, enjoy it, fuck, next. This is the first year that the Gathering of the Juggalos is going to be held in Oklahoma, so of course there's going to be those news affiliates, those news stations that get wind of that and want to do a story on it. Why not, right? Well, an NBC affiliate in Oklahoma did just that. They actually got to speak with the owner of the Lost Lakes Amphitheater, which is where the gathering is going to be held. You can hear that shit right now.
This peaceful northeast Oklahoma City field will turn into its own adult theme park when the Gathering of the Juggalos Music Festival comes this July.
I think with every generation of music, every band has fans, and they have names for them, you know? These are called the Juggalos and Juggalettes.
Nicknamed for their love of music group Insane Clown Posse, who's drawn a cult-like following.
The participants that follow this group around, they dress up. It's sort of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
8,000 fans are expected to attend the 4-day event this summer. The festival, in its 18th year, has been in Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio, but it's in Oklahoma for the first time. Organizers say Insane Clown Posse's first concert at Lost Lakes Amphitheater 2 years ago inspired the band to come back.
They called and said, hey, is that place still available? Lost Lakes. And here we are.
The festival has a dark past with reports of a stabbing, drug overdoses, and assaults. But the venue says their previous show here gives them confidence that the most you're going to see is soda pop sprayed on you, a signature prop for the headlining band.
I went online and Googled it, and I was going, oh my gosh, because my background was in law enforcement, and I thought, well, okay, this is the problem. It turned out to be the one of the best shows we've had out here.
But with thousands in one location for the 4-day festival, organizers say they're stepping up safety measures.
We're, of course, going to have a very strong security presence here. Our rules and regulations will be posted.
They're hoping extra security will be enough to deter any violence.
Hey, fuck you, man!
I said Trump you know I trumped you. You was talking shit about me, that's why they jumped you.
Isham the Unholy, he's got a brand new full-length dropping. It's called Scribble. That shit is dropping on May 26th. It's actually available for pre-order right now for $10.99. It's also available for pre-order on iTunes. Also, the track list has been revealed. Hit up the link in the show notes to check out everything I just said.
Wake up in Jamaica, no need to explain. Plans by the second cause I'm fucking insane. And I'm never throwing money when I'm making it rain.
Alright ninjas, here's the controversial news. Shit. Check it out. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with who Nova Rockefeller is, but she's a female rapper. She's kind of like a pop rapper in my opinion. She toured with Violent J on his solo charity tour. She was actually featured on that Sick Kid single as well. Her boyfriend, Tom McDonald, noticed that Violent J was sending her text messages that basically said, fuck him. So Tom McDonald put the text messages online. That is basically it in a nutshell. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. But check it out. My homies over at Replicon Radio a couple weeks ago got a chance to interview Tom McDonald. And he kind of just explains why he did it. He kind of explains the whole situation. They talked to him for about 15 minutes. I think I maybe got like a 2-minute sound clip, but check it out.
I mean, according to, I guess, your post, this wasn't just a one-time out of the blue thing, like he was drunk and sent a message. This is like an ongoing thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on for a minute. Like, up until now, it's been kind of harmless, bro. Like, I said it like a bunch of times. It was just like on some love letter stuff, like prior to now, which is like totally fine. Like, I mean, you can't fucking help who you love or, like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that we've all had a crush on somebody at some point who wasn't interested in pursuing a relationship with us. That's just part of life. And whatever, and that was, like, totally cool. And then, you know, like, Nova had told me before, like, oh, yeah, Jay's got, like, a crush on me, but he's been, like, a really good friend of mine, so I'm like trying to maintain that relationship and just be cordial and stuff. And I'm like, yo, that's totally fucking cool. That's totally cool. I have female fans and stuff that have crushes on me, and I'm trying to be friendly with them as well. And sometimes that's a tough thing to navigate. And then it just so happened that, like, whatever, Nova got up and left the living room fucking in the morning. We just eating breakfast. She was taking dishes out or something, and the phone buzzed and I look down and it's fucking Violent J. And the fucking first 6 lines of text are on the lock screen and I can read it. And he's saying like, fuck me and fuck VFDF and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you know what, man? Fuck you. Because there's a lot of people that like wouldn't have been cool with 6 months worth of fucking love letters, but I was cool with it. So if you're going to start talking shit about me and start disrespecting Nova and her decisions about her relationship and shitting on the band when you haven't even heard the music and whatever else, then, you know, fuck you, man. Like,
so there you go, ninjas. We're going to get into the clip of mine and Chad Carson's interview with Sadistik. Then we're going to get into a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to our homie, Adlib. Stick around.
No, don't let me be committed. My head twisted. Everybody says I'm gifted. Nova says no, but Rockefeller said yes. Keep the Martians out, I got a foil head dress. How I mean to say things say themselves. I can't help it, I'm releasing my doubt. Worry about self, I'ma get mine. Y'all praise God, I turn my blood into wine. Walk all over water and turn back.
Say it with us. Salem witches. Say it with us. Say it with us. Salem witches. Say it with us.
I am joined by Faygoluvers' own Chad Carsten, who is going to be assisting me in interviewing the one and only Sadistik. Sadistik, how the hell are you, brother?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Well, we appreciate you doing the interview. So, Chad, do you want to kick it off there, brother?
Sure, man. For the unfamiliar, because we're on Faygoluvers, maybe some Faygolovers listeners don't know who Sadistik is, but for the unfamiliar, how does your artist name represent who you are personally?
For my moniker, if nothing else, it denotes that I don't really fit in. It's not really like a common kind of name, so if nothing else, it just tells people, like, if this turns you off and you probably don't want to go any further with me, maybe you'd be better suited going somewhere else.
He spells his name with the K and not the regular Sadistik spelling for those listening. So, is there any backstory behind why you chose the name? Or
I chose that when I was a teenager, and I don't even remember myself as a teenager anymore. So it's just kind of it just kind of is now. There's no real like deep story to the name, but I think it fits. I think it works.
How do you want to accomplish leaving your own mark inside the hip hop history book? You know, what does the hip hop need right now?
I mean, I think hip-hop is alive and well. I think every kind of subculture of rap is available to you. You just got to find it. If there's something I would complain about, I would say, you know, or if there's something that it needs, you know, it just needs an audience that keeps its standards high, an audience that kind of demands more from their artists in some ways while still appreciating them. I just do my own fucking thing. I make what I make. I feed the communion. I have my fan base that we have our times together, and I'm happy with it. I'm not too concerned with kind of like winning over the hip hop elitist crowd, you know. I don't fit in anywhere.
Yeah, you are doing your own thing.
I was just going to ask, are you able to describe the musical scars you've endured thus far deep within these dark tunnels of the hip hop genre?
I mean, I don't know if I have scars. It's just my music tends to be very, it's dark, but it's also like confessional and personal, even though it's kind of like dressed up in my own writing style or whatever. But a lot of it is I don't really sit down and I'm like, oh, I want to write about something sad. But it just sometimes those roots are so deep or they're so like embedded into my creative thoughts that it just kind of is all stirred together, so it comes out like that.
Does hallucinogenics play any role with the inspiration for the creative process?
I would say hallucinogenics have played a role in inspiring me as a human being, which, of course, like, floods over to me as an artist. So I was already doing what I was doing, and I already had my creative ideas these seeds that I was watering before I ever tried hallucinogenics. But I do appreciate them on an intellectual level, reading about them and experiencing them, and they have kind of changed the way I've seen the world in some ways. So it's definitely affected my art, because me as a human being and what comes out musically are inextricably linked. Hallucinogenics have definitely played a role.
Right. Well, what about like specifically within the your music videos?
Yeah, definitely for Orange.
Not particularly hallucinogenics. More so for Orange, yeah. So that album was called Ultraviolet, and that had more allusions to hallucinogenics and such. And honestly, that was kind of like more when I was first experimenting with them more. I wouldn't say it's kind of an overarching thing in my music, but with my videos, I'm a huge cinephile. Like specifically, I'm a horror geek, and I have a lot of illusions in my music videos. For those who don't know, I write almost all of my videos, and I direct probably most of them. And I'm just a big geek in that. I want it further and further.
Stories get a little personal, but are you able to give details of the most intense psychedelic trip of your life, of your own personal experience?
Nah, that's an answer for in person, man. If I started trying to explain that, everybody would switch the channel and think I, like, my brain melted or something. That sounds like Sid Barrett or something. I mean, it's like, I'll just say, in that world, it's kind of like seek and you shall receive kind of thing. You know, like those who are searching for something in that realm will find it, in my experience.
For your 2016 single Perseus, what exactly splashed through your mind when you were writing that, man?
It was just, I was thinking, fuck some of these people. Like some of the people in my life who are just, I've had some people who weren't very loyal, or people who were just so obvious about being sycophantic or just trying to climb up or use me for something. And so I was just kind of dealing with something like that. And so I was like, fuck this shit. And my homie Ronnie J sent me that really aggressive beat, and I wrote that in like a day, just to give people while they were waiting for altars. And then the single art, I put the famous Caravaggio painting of Perseus holding Medusa's head, so it's like, in case there's any confusion.
Mythology up in there, yeah, hell yeah, man. Now, congratulations on being signed to Equal Vision, man. That's like a metal, hardcore rock label for a hip-hop artist to be signed.
Thanks, man.
Congrats.
It's been really good so far. It's, it's new for me. It's maybe new for them in a way too, because they're not a rap label, but again, I don't fit in anywhere, so I was kind of like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So it's been good so far, though. They've shown a lot of faith in my artistic ideas, and they've kind of helped me take them a little further, like directing that Free Spirits video, for example. Like that's something that in the past I probably wouldn't have been able to have the resources for.
How would you describe the content featured within Altars using only the visuals of your favorite giallo Italian horror film?
That's tight. Which would it be? Okay, well, it would definitely be Suspiria's in there, because there's a lot of talk about witches and such. There's some little dashes of kind of like 80s horror soundtrack, little tiny hints in it, and so the Goblin soundtrack from one of those would probably be it. There's a direct Mario Bava reference in a song called Kaleidoscope too, but then I would say it's the movie Opera. It's the most aggressive Dario Argento movie, I think, and it had little tinges of like kind of metal in that movie, and it's the only like giallo of the era that had little hints of metal, so I would say it's Dario Argento's Opera, for the geeks out there that know what we're talking about.
Yo, what up? We out here representing. The Murder Tour is rolling. We've done some shows so far. We got a bunch of shows coming up. Yeah, for everybody that's come out so far, thank you. Much appreciated. But we want to see all y'all coming out on these next shows. Let's keep this momentum rolling. Magic Ninja.
Yeah, we ain't stopping. We like a motherfucking steam roller train, and it's way up here and it's just cooling down. And we just gonna keep rolling, and we gonna bust through all this shit, and we moving. We on our way, because where we headed? We headed down south?
We're headed down south. We're headed down west. We're headed west.
We will see y'all. Then we coming up that way towards the north. We're gonna be in Seattle, Utah, all over this motherfucker. Colorado, man, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, we got a bunch of shows coming up in Colorado, so y'all come out. Y'all always come out and represent.
Yeah, love y'all.
Change it up. Come on. Magic Ninja Entertainment, MNE, Boondocks Blaze, Lex, Murder Tour.
Yeah, the Murder Tour is murder.
Manipulation from demonic possession, or just a case of medicated false neurotic suggestion, a psychotic confession of a dope sick sin, a man sick.
What's up, it's Madchild. First of all, I want to say shout out to the first Canadian gathering. That shit was so dope. Shout out to everyone in Calgary, Alberta, everybody that came out, all the juggalos and juggalettes. That shit was such a fun weekend. Secondly, I'd like to speak on this march. I personally am coming. I'm playing at the march in September in Washington. So Shout out to also Violent J for that very thoughtful apology for Hot 97 wasn't necessary, but it meant a lot to me. Thank you very much. I know you didn't mean anything by it. Shout out to ICP, man. They've been so supportive of myself since I started my solo career, as well as Swollen members. Shout out to all the juggalos and juggalettes. You guys have, man, I feel blessed, man. I feel blessed to be one of the artists that's been embraced by the Juggalo family. It means the world to me, you feel me? And to call Juggalos a gang is a bunch of fucking bullshit. Believe me, I've been through a whole same kind of thing, being called something else when I'm just a rapper because of who I hang out with. Juggalos are just a family that has each other's back, that enjoys music, they discover music, and when they love music, they get behind it. They get behind the artist, and they get behind artists to the fullest. So once again, thank you for all your love and support. I'm going to see you guys at the March in September. Much love.
Come on. City to city, we go up, up, up. You got that sticky rolling up, up, up. You sipping something, fill your cups up, up. Do what we want until our time is up.
Welcome back to the Faygoluvers Podcast. I am here with the one and only Adlib. Brother, how the hell are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for talking to us. It's got that new Primitive Tomorrow album out. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited, man. It's by far like the best record the best music I've ever really been able to be a part of. I flew out to British Columbia and worked at the Chamber Studios with Rob the Viking from Swollen Members again. I think the guy's a genius. So Rob did all the mixing. He did all the post-production on the record. We had Peter Humphreys master the album. So Peter Humphreys does a lot of the Jedi Mind Trick stuff with Coca Nostra. He goes all the way back into the late 70s, man. This guy has mastered everything. We didn't cut any corners with the record. I have like 2 to 3 producers on every track. I think it's different in that aspect, you know, that instead of having a bunch of features as far as artists went, we had a bunch of producers. I just think it brought a lot out, you know, sonically. So I'm really excited about the album, man.
Where does that name Primitive Tomorrow come from, or what does that mean?
Yeah, Primitive Tomorrow, that's a good question, man. Primitive Tomorrow is like, I feel like as an artist, you have to evolve. You have to constantly work to progress and to get better. And I think at the same time, I think the best artists are always the ones that are always mindful of how they started their art and mindful of like where their roots are, where they come from. And I think that if you get caught up in either side of things, I think that that's when people fail. You know, I think when people are trying to like do new shit and just because it's trendy or whatever, I think it fails because people listen to their own music and like, wow, this, you know, it's completely different. Or when people are not willing to try to advance and try to stick with the same thing over and over and over again, I think that they fail too. So Primitive Tomorrow was just kind of that, you know what I mean? It was like me recognizing where I come from, my roots, and staying true to that and staying true to the message that I've always had. And at the same time, trying to really expand and become a better writer, build more on especially the post-production and like sonically build a lot more rather than just having beats that were like kind of 2-track. Rob brought in musicians and live guitarists and bassists playing the synth, a lot of different things that I've never really done before on an album.
Right, yeah, that's actually really important to note, man, you can't forget your roots, but you always have to evolve your shit, right?
Yeah, or else you're just treading water, man. You're just like staying in the same place. I don't know. You know, I think that that's a real problem with our culture a little bit, is that people want to like live in the past a lot. So you have to try to get better, man. You know what I mean? Like you're content being at the same place. You never move forward, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to keep fans by making an album that sounded exactly like your last album, but it's a terrible way to gain fans.
I think like once, you know, your fans or your supporters hear something over and over, like they want to hear you advance, like they want to hear you get better. It doesn't mean completely changing your style up or anything like that. Just trying to like work to get better, even if the style is always the same. Like just, you know, just trying to be better. You know, as artists, you can always get better. If you're working at your art, I think you can always get better.
I was just going to ask you about the production aspects of the album. I know you just touched on it a little bit, but from like beginning to end, how was it? How was the creation of the album?
What I did is I had a bunch of beats from producers that I love, like Level 13, Ali Arms, Sharky. I had a bunch of producers tracks that I really love, and I had a bunch of songs. I basically narrowed it down to I think I've narrowed it down to 9 demos basically that I really love. I took those to Rob. I took those with me to Vancouver, and then that turned into the 12 songs that are on the album. We basically had those demos, and then Rob added onto the beat. The producers just basically started, working together as far as the sound at that point. And, Rob just added textures and added layers. And like I said, the guy's a genius. I can't see going to anybody else at this point. I just love working with him.
The Battle Axe Ninjas, were they pretty happy when you handed that in then? Pretty impressed? Or were they kind of there overseeing the whole creation of it?
Yeah, well, that all came into play after the album was already done. It's actually crazy. The album was mastered and finished probably a year and some change before it came out. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah, artwork and everything, videos, everything, we had the record, and then I had been talking to Kevin Zinger. I've been talking to Madchild and stuff about putting a record out, and then, it was just one of those things, touring and all that stuff. I had the album. I sent the album over to him. Mad loved the album. Zinger loved the album, and then it just kind of went back and forth from there. Basically, they offered to put the record out, so I was super happy, obviously. Couldn't be more happy, man. So what we ended up doing is we ended up doing a deal with Faction Music, which is owned by Kevin Zinger and under the Battle Axe flag, under the Battle Axe Records. We're able to have a nice team behind the record and have people the staff over there is awesome, and having people that want to see the record do good get behind it.
Speaking on Madchild, how did you originally meet that ninja? How did y'all get hooked up?
We did a track together called Worldwide Inc. We just basically became friends. Really, in a nutshell, that's how it happened. We did a few songs together. It was actually the first time he worked with Sealance. Right. That's how that whole thing happened. I kind of linked those guys up, and then from there we just kind of became friends. I was touring at the time. He was touring like crazy, and we just, I really respect him as an artist and his work ethic. I've learned so much from him. I couldn't have been happier to be asked to be part of the movement,
Right.
I've been rocking and rolling with him since. So it's been a blessing, man. Matt's brought me out on tour twice. He comes over here. That's family. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the fiercest MCs on the planet, hands down. Anybody can't say any different. People can hate on people, whatever the case, but that's a guy you can't really hate on, man, because he just makes quality music. He works like no other, and he's constantly on tour, man. He puts on a great live show. He's definitely one of the artists that I really look up to, And he looked out for me a lot, man. You know what I mean? I was a young artist from the East Coast. And he's a guy from Vancouver, man, who has already, he didn't need to look out for me at all, bring me on tour, do songs with me, put me down with anything. And he did all that because he's one of these guys that likes to see other people win as well,
If Psychopathic Records was to hit you up to attend either or to perform at the Gathering or the upcoming Juggalo Merch on Washington, would you be down for that?
Man, I've been waiting for them phone calls, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they're doing over there, man. I've been waiting for them phone calls, man. I would love, hey, man, it would be an honor, you know what I'm saying? It would be an honor to rock any of that. I've been wanting to do the Gathering as bucket list shit for me, you know what I mean? I've been wanting to rock the Gathering forever. Yeah, and the March, that's in my backyard, man. And that tree's legal over there in D.C., so.
Oh, snap, is it?
Yeah, man, yeah. So it's all good. I definitely want to get that phone call.
Right. Well, maybe they're listening. I hope so.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man.
I know that you're a huge advocate for cannabis in Philly. Where did all that get started?
I mean, I'm a stoner. You know what I mean? That's just is what it is. The first music that I ever put out was called The Green Mile, and you know what I mean? It was just a picture of a bud on the cover. So. It just is what it is, man. I'm into advocating for what's right. Even if you're a cat that doesn't smoke or for recreation, the plant has so many values and so many things, attributes that it has, that I'm just trying to fight the good fight for what's right. My mother has beat cancer 3 times, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
And she's someone who's never smoked weed a day in her life, but the CBD and chocolates, they help her. So, you can't deny stuff like that. I've watched and witnessed young, 2 years old, 3 years old that have seizures that don't really eat fruit or anything like that. And through CBDs and through the use of medical marijuana, they're able to do that, So,
yeah.
that's what I'm really about. And then, you know, I'm a stoner as well, man, you know, so it is what it is, you know. Like, I came up in music. The first concert I ever went to was Cypress, you know, and like that's the reason I even make music, is like seeing those dudes on stage and just being able to relate so much to them guys, the way they look, the way they acted, the way everything, you know, like I just wanted to be, that's what I wanted to be, you know? Yeah.
How did you get started with that? And you said, oh man, I'm a stoner.
Yeah. I don't even know, bro. Like, I don't even know, you know. You could blame my man Ed, man. My man Ed, or my older brother. One of those two gave me a joint when I was young. You know, I've been smoking for a long time, man.
All right.
I've been down with the herb for a long time. So.
Oh, and that joint changed your life then, eh?
It sure did.
Right. All right, brother. Well, I want to ask you, checked out the website. It's saying Rebel Hippies is a cannabis culture lifestyle community. What is Rebel Hippies to you?
It's a trip, man. Like, Rebel Hippies was just, the way it all started off was basically rolling papers. I wanted to have my own rolling paper company, and I got an endorsement deal with Ziggy Papers in Switzerland. It all started because I didn't want to call it like Adlib Rolling Papers, because I thought that shit was corny, you know what I'm saying? I thought that shit was like tacky. It all basically started like that, and I was just trying to think of something that was like represented, you know, myself and represented everybody. And then I went back to Rebel Hippies because I've said that in songs, you know, I've referenced myself as that. Like, even going back to like my first records, I've said Rebel Hippies a bunch of times. So I was like, yo, I'm going to call it Rebel Hippies. It just started off like that. And then people loved the papers, and then like they loved the logo. And I just started seeing people getting the logo tattooed on them, rapping Rebel Hippies like it was more than just like on some rolling paper shit, you know what I mean? So then we started making more products, you know, shirts, medtainers, and different products. Now we're trying to revamp it and have a nice official site and a forum and a place where we can, you know, it's not really a music thing. It's just, I'm a rebel hippie, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I'm all about spreading love, but at the same time, I break rules and I do what the fuck I want. Rebel hippies make sense. I think that there's a lot of people that relate to it, and they're the same way, like people that are generally just are trying to spread love and be positive people, but at the same time, they're proud to be individuals. They don't conform. They're not about the bullshit. I think it sums it up, that what it's about. And I had no idea that it was going to pop off like that. It wasn't something that I was like trying to like do with my music. It really wasn't. It was just something that it's kind of been really building organically. I had to recognize that, you know, and just try to make it be a good representation of the people that are repping it.
Sort of, it's kind of turned into its own subculture then, you're saying? Like, I don't need to like get a membership to call myself a rebel hippie. Anybody can be a rebel hippie.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nothing like that, man. Yeah, like, if you're rebel hippies, you're rebel hippies. Like, that's all it really is. I mean, the site, we have some like unique different things that we're doing. Like, we have something called the Roll-Up Club. These people sign up for the Roll-Up Club and they get the papers to their house every month, so they don't have to go out and buy rolling papers. In this new year, we're going to do a bunch of really cool stuff as far as like things with the products. It's not like a membership thing. It's not like anything like that. No, for sure. And I see, like, for instance, man, like I saw like in Quebec, they have like a Rebel Hippies like division and like a whole like clubhouse and everything, man, like a smokehouse, and a skull painted on the wall and shit. It's fucking rad, man. It's cool. I really appreciate it. I think it's fucking dope. I don't look at it like it's my thing, you know what I mean? I look at it like it's everybody's.
Right. You still gotta feel good though to see that shit.
Yeah, man, it's cool to have anything like connect with people, you know what I mean? Like, it's a blessing, man.
Well, hey, Adlib, what is your preferred smoking method?
Rebel Hippies hemp papers.
Okay.
I smoke joints. I'm a joint guy. I do love a bong, you know, I'll hit a bong. I have a shout out to Illadelph Glass. I'm sponsored by Illadelph Glass, and amazing glass. Yeah, I'm a joint guy for the most part. I like sativas. I like sour diesels, my favorite strain. I like some tangy and some I like daytime tree. I'm more of a sativa guy than an indica, you know. Right. I smoke my indicas at night and then knock the fuck out, watch some Netflix and fall asleep.
Hell yeah, brother. You said sour diesel is your favorite strain?
I'm an East Coast guy. I'm sure that if I lived on the West Coast, I would fucking spread my wings, but I'm an East Coast guy, so sour D is like, that's the king over here, I guess.
Right. In 2013, you were signed to Wu-Tang's affiliate label Chamber Music?
Yeah.
How did that all come about, and what happened with that?
Shout out to G-Clef and all those guys. It was just something that just happened, man. I didn't even know. A homeboy of mine had done some videos with those guys. He brought my music to G-Clef, And then G-Clef set up a meeting. We went and met up with Clef. We hit it off. He's a great guy, man. It was a cool album. I put out Bad News with them. It did well, man. It was in like Target and Kmart and all the like, for like an underground like record, no radio play or anything like that. We were in Best Buy. We were in all the physical. We got physical placement in all the chain stores and stuff. So it was cool. My mom was able to go and see my record at the store, you know, and that can't beat that shit. Yeah, you can't beat that. Shout out to G-Clef, man. He's a good dude, man. I hope they're doing good over there.
Oh, yeah, brother. You said that like one of the first concerts you went to, or the first show you went to, was a Cypress Hill show. Who were some of your biggest influences coming up in the game?
Cypress Hill, Redman. I mean, those guys are probably the most, you know, as far as influences. House of Pain. And then a lot of other music, a lot of punk rock, Sex Pistols, Ramones, some hardcore stuff like Madball and Scarhead. I even listen to like shit like Hall & Oates and Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash. Like I'm pretty across the board, you know. I like all kinds of shit. Jimi Hendrix, Grateful Dead. You know what I mean? Like I like really across the board with it. So my brother listened to like metal and stuff. And then my mom listened to like kind of like hippie stuff, and then I came out of nowhere and was like listening to like gangster rap. So I like kind of like everything, you know what I mean, across the board.
Your brother listened to metal, your mom listened to hippie shit, and then eventually you formed some shit called Rebel Hippies. Kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, right. Hey, there you go, man. You just broke it down. You fucking you broke down the real roots of it.
Right.
Know. Good luck.
So what about today? Is there any artists that are just coming out today that you're just super fucking impressed by?
Yeah, for sure, man. Joey Badass, Flatbush Zombies, Underachievers, Ab-Soul. I like Dave East, Mick Jenkins. Bunch of cats, man.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. I'm digging the stuff that's coming out right now. I like that dude Conway. Space Camp. I got a new group called Space Camp. We're literally the stoniest group in the galaxy, so everybody can get their lungs ready for that.
Well, what about for Adlib? What can we see coming out in the future?
Well, right now, like I'm just gonna keep pumping Primitive tomorrow. I'm about to go to Eastern Canada, May 19th to the 29th. I'll be in Eastern Canada, up through Ontario and Quebec. I'll be in Western Canada later on in the summer. I believe I'm going to be going on tour with Ren Thomas as well at some point in the summertime. But I'll just be out on the road. I'm going to have this Space Camp album that's going to be probably dropping in the summertime. I'm really excited about that. And that's about it, man. Just going to keep working, man.
Well, I live in Ontario, brother, so I'll definitely be hitting you up to find out when you're going to be playing them shows.
Oh, fantastic, man. Look forward to seeing you.
I mean, this is a question that I ask every episode of the podcast. If you were stranded on a deserted island and you had a Discman, but you only had 3 CDs with you, what 3 CDs do you got?
That's a good one. 3 CDs I got. Cypress Hill, Black Sunday. Probably.
Never an easy question.
Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced?
Dope.
And the last one, last CD, probably, to be honest, man, just because I'm going to be on a desert island, I'm going to need time to chill. Probably in that situation, I'm going to go with Grateful Dead, American Beauty.
Oh, dope, some Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I don't want to get too, I don't want to get too hype out there, man, because I ain't nowhere to go.
You need those chances to mellow out, yeah.
Yeah, man, you gotta get some time to mellow out, man. Cypress will give me, you know, when I get angry from being stranded on the island, that's when I feel the Cypress on. The rest of the time, I'll probably just vibe out, man.
Dope. Good answers, homie.
So, thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're getting to the end of the interview here, Adlib, so is there anything that you want to let the fans know before we take off?
Yeah, please follow me on social media, Adlib420. Our website is rebelhippies.com. And check out the new group, Space Camp. We're on all social media, Space Camp 420. Camp is spelled with a K.
Dope. And we'll likely have links for all those in the show notes for this episode, too.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you guys having me, man. And everybody over there at Psychopathic, make sure you guys give me that phone call, man. I'm trying to smoke out the gathering in the March. What's up?
All right, legit. Thank you so much, Adlib.
Thank you, man. Have a great day, all right, man? Break rules, spread love, man. Break rules, spread love.
Thank you.
Busta Rhyme.
This is grown Busta.
Right. There's a Busta Rhyme from the late 80s, early 90s, who clearly you would not recognize as the Busta Rhymes of today.
With the dreadlocks down to his hips and the wild dancing.
Right, and that nonstop energy, flailing around and whatnot. This is the buffed out, the Mark Henry side.
The well-fed, well-relaxed, rich Busta.
Busta Rhymes, hands down, one of the freshest lyricists, rapper, flows, everything of all time as far as rap goes.
I'm guaranteeing you it takes 3 cases of beer to get Busta a buzz.
There's no question, dog. And then, if you're next to him, beer farts galore.
Beer farts galore.
Just the most ruthless sound and smell
they go,
ever. And then if you bring it up, they'll punch you in the face. I didn't do... What are you talking about? You just woo-ha'd me. Bam!
You were...
Sorry. No,
you were dropping mad woo-ha's last night. You don't remember? I remember what you're talking about. This is all speculation on my behalf, but I'm guessing he's a complete jerk till he gets his buzz on. You know what I mean?
Right. And he's mad touchy-feely.
He starts drinking at about noon. He gets his buzz on at about 4 or 5 after he kills a couple cases, and then he's mad cool.
And the only problem is
8 or 9 o'clock, he's really horny but still cool.
By like 9:30 at night, you can't understand one word he says. He's so deep in New York slang. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, Tony, check it out, B. You're just like, what are you saying, Buster?
You don't want to invite him to your party because he'll headbutt holes in your walls nonstop. Right. Ah! And he picks your fish tank up and drinks out of it.
Was it grown-ass Busta that showed up to the gathering?
It was drunk-ass Busta.
That was like middle-aged Busta.
We also got scared Busta because he was scared to come out of his trailer for a long time until he got really good and drunk. Then he finally came out and tore the house down.
True.
Then he said he'd never come back again.
He was done after that.
Faygoluvers. Faygoluvers.
That's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. I want to thank all of you ninjas for tuning in. I want to send a big thank you over to my homie Adlib. It was a very interesting interview. All of you ninjas run out and pick up that Primitive Tomorrow album because it's fresh. I've listened to it a few times. I actually listened to it once just to prepare for the interview and a couple times after just because it's fucking dope. I want to send a big thank you over to my homie Chad Carsten for helping me out with that Sadistik interview. Basically, it was more like I was helping him out because he pretty much came up with all the questions. He set the interview up. But either way, thank you so much, Chad Carsten. And thank you, Sadistik. Hit up the link in the show notes to listen to that shit. Thank you to Replicon Radio for always being on the grind and for getting that Tom McDonald interview. Dope. Ninjas, there is a 100% chance that I'm going to have the ROC on the next episode of the podcast. And I can say it's a 100% chance because I've already conducted the interview. Shit's already ready to go. I just have to wait 2 more weeks for the next episode of the podcast to drop. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. If you listen to me on iTunes, please give me a 5 or 4 star review. I'll read your shit on the air. Until next time, this is your homie Rosco reminding you to keep an open mind. Peace.
Sorry, brother.
No worries, man.
Yeah, Scotty hit me up asking to post shit. I just told him I'm about to interview Adlib. Sorry, brother.
Scotty's the man.
Yeah. He's a hard-working dude, I'll tell you that.
That's what's up, man. So you guys have an awesome site, man. I appreciate you guys always showing me love, man.